You have to be yourself. You need to know you first before you do anything. And if you don't do that, you cannot be anything.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Leaders in Tech podcast. This is the place where we find these incredible leaders in technology that are pushing the envelope to make this world a better place with their organizations and the people that they serve. Today we have with us one of those exceptional, incredible leaders. Garima, welcome to the show.
Thank you, David. Thank you for having me. And I'm thrilled to be here and share my journey as a leader from a programmer to become a technology leader. It's a quite interesting journey. So I'm happy to share that with you all. And thank you for having me.
You know, Garmina, I think, probably interviewed more than 70 leaders in technology now. We started the podcast February last year, 2023, and from all walks of life. But the ones that I love the most is because I'm biased, is the people that have a background in software development, developers, coders, because I was one of those kids where, I was a coder, I was in love building applications, but then the leadership mantle, if you will, came upon me and I had this desire to lead, but it was this fight between, do I want to stop coding to lead or what do I do? And it took me 10 years to figure out that, the next step was either I was going to be a VP of architecture or I really was going to become a true leader and have many people working with me to develop new technologies. And so I took the leadership path. So I'm excited to hear your experience and how you made it to where you are. But before we start, can you give me your full name? Where do you live and what is your current position right now? Who do you work for?
So, David, my full name is Garima Srivastava. It's pretty long last name, which I had after my marriage, which is 30 years back. And currently, I'm the Vice President and Associate CIO at UCSF, University of San Francisco. It's an academic medical center in San Francisco, USA, and I'm very lucky to be part of UCSF team. Prior to UCSF, I was working at Stanford Children's Hospital and the SLAC National Laboratory at Stanford. So almost 30 years in Bay Area in US. I am staying it with my husband and my son, who is also in the IT field, both of them. So very proud of IT, coding family, technical family, and here I am. So I lead a team for enterprise applications at UCSF, which serves our key missionary area, education and medical center. We have hospitals here, so healthcare and education mission as well as research.
Beautiful. Yeah, so you hold the title of Vice President and Associate CIO, right? In your position, and it's focused on application development.
Yes, that's my journey. Yep.
That's great. Garmina, tell me, most of your life you've been in academia, Stanford Hospital, and then you are in University of San Francisco. Has it been most of your life or you have dabbled into other industries?
So let me tell you a little bit about my journey. That's from last 25 years. I am in most of the academic medical centers, Stanford and UCSF, and in California. Prior to that, I was in the private industries and the consulting world myself. Graduated, did my master's in India and came here as a consultant in a company called Centel, who brought me here and was serving in different clients such as an AIG and Xerox Corporation and all prior to the academic medical center. And after that, I joined PeopleSoft in California, in Bay Area itself, which is now owned by Oracle and Workday. So those were the long, good days. I served there as technical manager and then moved to our client area, which is academic medical center. So I had quite a bit experience as a consultant, as a software technical company, technical manager there, and then as on our client side to lead their IT groups.
One of the things that Canada and USA have done really well in the past is attract talent from all over the world. And it's not easy. You know that it's not easy, Garmina. Like I was born in Guatemala, like you, I'm an immigrant to Canada. I went to Canada for computer science school. I already had a degree of computer science in my country, and I had already written a payroll software system through college and right after college with one of my best buddies for a factory. We were automating payroll for 300 employees back in the 80s where people didn't know what a microcomputer was. But then I saw the light in Canada because my brother went to university for business school in Canada. And he was telling me how beautiful this country was. And I'm like, I want that. But I tell you all these things because we come from such different places, different backgrounds. And little did we know that by choosing a computer science degree, the world will be opening up for us in North America, and we were able to achieve our maximum potential. And for me, honestly, like if you look at my promotion in Guatemala, I was the only one that moved. Everybody else got jobs in banks and here and there, and they made their own businesses in Guatemala, which is fine. But the level of growth that I developed was, I couldn't have done that in Guatemala. I don't think so. And and I say all these things with awe, because when I look at you and the achievements and the advancements, the job title, that really is meaningless for me. What is meaningful for me is the impact that you're doing with your people and the way that you were able to learn to be an exceptional leader so that you can achieve great things to others, through others. But at the same time, I look at life and I see there is no way I could have done this. There is no way that the doors were just open for me like that. And so then I come back and I realize, well, I'm a born-again Christian, and I started reading my Bible a year ago. And in the book of Psalms, there's a psalm called 139, Psalm 139, and in there it says that the Lord has written every page of our life in His book. So He preordained the opportunities for us. Now we have free will, and we have to say, I'm willing to cross that door. I'm willing to go into the next page of my life. But it's really, you see the hand of God, isn't it? Because, like for me, for example, I was a lower middle class boy with very little hope for a future. The country I was born in had a caste system, and if you didn't belong to the higher up class, you will never get a job.
Yeah.
I was blessed to go to university, but I paid for university myself because my dad told me, once you're 18, you're on your own. And that was a blessing too. And then when I saw the opportunity moving to a third world country, everything started to open up and I went back to school. I didn't care, right? A lot of people go to Canada, they are doctors, they are computer scientists. And like, I'm not going to go back to school. And they are driving a cab for a living. I went back to school. I did another 4 or 5 years. I don't care. And look at me now, right?
Yeah. The technology did open the world. They removed the boundaries. They removed all the caste system and all everywhere. So we are blessed to be in this world. And of course, US is a land of opportunity, as they say, because the innovation starts here. And all of what we went into education, whatever we did, I think we can see the similarities in all the leaders. They want to make a difference. They want to have an impact of users' life. That's how I started. I was not sure what I want to do when I was a kid, And in India, there are only two things. Your parents want you to become a doctor or an engineer and all that. You have that pressure. So we went into those technology path, and I'm blessed to have those kind of parents in my life who told me to become something. It's like they initiated that spark. But when I was doing my graduation, computer science was quite a new thing, and I was passionate because I always thought with the technology we can change the world. That was my mindset from day one. And when I started working as a programmer, I enjoyed solving technical challenges, and you must be in the same way
Oh, yeah.
because what your story tells me, and I took that technical challenges and writing codes. But over time, I realized that I was craving a bigger impact. I wanted not only to contribute to my projects or some small things which I was creating, but also I wanted to guide and inspire others to do their best out of them. Because world was full of problems and we wanted to present some solution which can impact the people's life, whether it's a small country or big country, it's all overall about the impact. So technologies, the computer science and other technology gave us that gateway to do that. And I'm blessed that we are in that world right now.
Garmina, did you meet your husband back in India or you guys met in USA?
We so I don't know, you're familiar with the arranged marriage concept in India. People laugh on that, but that's how we were arrangedly married. He was in US and I was in India at that time. We got married and I moved here in US with him in 1994. So we never met before our marriage.
And you've been married how long?
30 years.
So did it work?
It's working, yes. You learn a lot of compromises, you learn a lot of things. And, we tell our son now this story, and people, and he himself, like, Mom, arranged marriage, no way. But, that teaches you are coming to a country with someone who never met before, but then you learn to know each other, you grow together. So and a lot of Indian marriages were arranged, not these days, but 30 years back. So it worked. Good,
Yeah,
bad,
actually,
whatever, but it worked. It's still working.
I remember when I was freshly a leader in technology back in the year 2000, and I had a team of developers working with me, and this kid, I hired him, he was one of the best coders that I had. He was from Immersed University, but he was from India. So he came to Canada just like me, and he got his degree, and I hired him. But he said in the job interview, I'm gonna need to take a month off in 7 months, something like that. I'm like, why? And he's like, well, my parents found me a wife in India and I need to go get married. And I'm like, what are you saying?
Yeah, it's
And
hard
then
to believe. But that teaches you a lot of things like patience. And that skills is really needed to become a leader. Empathy and patience. That's what you learn from those things. I'm not saying that's a good or bad. No more these days, even in India, nobody goes into those arranged marriages. But it's a marriage between two families versus two people. That's the key. It's a known family. It's a relation between two families versus just two person.
it's incredible, but you know that Jewish people in the past, they did exactly the same thing. It was arranged marriage. If you look at the Old Testament, everything was arranged. And there is I'm talking too much about my faith, but there is another verb, a proverb that says, if you honor your father and mother, you will be blessed. And the Lord will fill you with many, many, many years of blessings in the world. And when you have a marriage like that and you're a kid, you're really honoring your mom and dad, because you have no idea what they're doing, whether you're going to something horrible, something beautiful. And also it speaks a lot about commitment and leadership, because a lot of marriages that happen by love, the way I was married, I'm still married with my wife, but just by the grace of God, because I should have been divorced 4 times over, because I was a horrible person until I learned how to love, But a normal marriage, when you're like that, you get married based on emotion, and emotion goes away.
Yes.
And then when emotion goes away, people get divorced. But if you are willing to work it out, then you will actually keep going. And this, by the way, this is the same for leaders in technology.
That's true.
It's good to have emotion to start a project, but if your emotion goes away in the middle of the project, it's going to fail. So you have to find a way to keep yourself motivated until the end, regardless of how it gets.
Yep. Right? And you have to think more than just yourself. So that's the leadership quality also. And you don't just think for a person, you think about family. Like if you get divorced, what's the impact on the family, and you try to make it work. And always the fun part is you can always blame your parents if something doesn't work.
You make the choice, right?
Yeah. So the fun part apart, but it teaches you a lot of compromises, a lot of patience, empathy, and couple of quality leadership skill which you can't learn otherwise. So I'm blessed, which did now no more, and people are going in a different direction. It's a different world than 30 years back. But yeah, that's how I was married, and we are still in a happy family here in US, and blessed to have a son who is 26-year-old and leading a path on the software development side at this point as well.
That's great. Garima, how did you landed your first consulting job in the USA? Was it a company in India? You were in India, or were you already a resident of the USA?
So I was interviewed at my campus interview, and it was a company based in India and New York. It was an international company, and they hired me when I was a freshie from computer science masters, and they put me into a project in New York. That was my first ever project, which I worked on in AIG company. So yes, it was a company through India, but it was also based in New York. So that's how we had an office in Bombay and then in New York. And they used to, it was a consulting company, and they used to put us to a different client for different projects. So that's how I started my career in the technical world.
That's wonderful. How do you break off, like I said on my story at the beginning, how do you break off your passion for coding into leadership? What was that deciding moment when you said, I have this opportunity, I'm going to take it? How did that happen?
So I will tell you this story. Absolutely. That's after completing my master's degree, I joined this company. I was mentioning that with a passion for using the technology to make a difference in the world. However, it wasn't until I found myself knee deep down into a project for a client in the New York and that the seed of leadership were fully planted in me. We were working on a CRM product, customer relationship management project, call center product. And despite of all our best efforts in the coding and building that software, we were full with complaints and issues. Every day our team was getting a lot of complaints and issues from our managers, and client was not happy. It wasn't until our client's leader invited me to visit a call center firsthand that my perspective shifted totally dramatically on the other side. It was eye-opening for me when I saw how our software was being used by people who were earning just $12 or $10 an hour that time, or little less, and they were frustrated and with so much of anxiety in them. And I saw them using our software, simple tasks like tabbing out of a field for navigating through the screen was like major hurdle for them, because they were not technology people. They were just people who were getting the call from the clients and answering that and trying to use our software, which was really frustrating for them. I saw that by my sight, and that changed my whole life. It made me realize that there was more to just the work which we were doing, coding. It was about understanding the need of your users, or challenges which they face, and creating a solution which served them as an overall solution. So that changed my mind that I cannot be focused on just the coding, which we thought was flawless, but have to see overall solution, have to learn what our users needs. That's what changed my life, that I just don't want to be a coder. It gave me a fire within me to think beyond just writing the codes and to take ownership of the entire solution. That was the incident which created a spark to become a leader, or to lead something which gives the entire solution to the world. And I knew that I wanted to lead and inspire others to develop that solution that's have a meaningful impact. So I met my boss that time, approached him, and expressed my desire to take the responsibility of that particular project after seeing that firsthand in my client side, and take that leadership role, which will help me to handle that particular situation and the project. And without any hesitation, he entrusted me with that responsibility. And I happily took that because it was the opportunity which allowed me to hone my leadership skills, which I always had inside. I always wanted to make the difference in the world. As I've mentioned, that I always craved something different than just the coding. And I took that leadership position to learn the things in the real time scenarios. And I used that for my first and only first leadership opportunity. And also, on top of that, I started enrolling myself in some leadership workshop. I also had the opportunity to make some mentors in my organization that time. So I got good mentors, and that's how I started my leadership job. And I think 30 years back, that's what I can remember, that's allowed me to do some hands-on experience with that.
Isn't it beautiful that when your job becomes more than a bunch of instructions on a machine that doesn't have a soul into something that will impact humans in a better way, everything changes. That's why I call this place Leaders in Technology, because technology is how we actually achieve blessings to other people, but it's really the leadership part, because it's the human side that I'm interested at in this point in my life.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong, I love technology, and for me, UI, UX, that was my passion too. How can I save a click to a customer? How can I make it 10 seconds faster so that they don't have to be waiting there?
Yeah, no, definitely. And it was challenging once I saw the real world, That's, and I don't know, you heard about a lot of companies now call it like Gamba rounds. You go in person to real where your technologies are being used. You go there, you see how it is working, and you get the feel of it. Not just that you're sitting in your room and coding. We love coding. We can do a lot of things and build a lot of technology, but unless it's useful to others, that technology is useless, right? So that's what changed my life, and I started taking the leadership route in my career, and that was my first company. And I knew that that project required a strong leadership, which was just more than the technical expertise. It required vision, empathy, and the ability to inspire others. You can do your own work, you can write codes, but getting others to do that work with you as a team is kind of something which makes your solution better, which makes a leader to grow and also create another leaders underneath you.
It's beautiful, Carmina. Another factor that I was blessed with is that I was able to talk to clients, talk to internal clients when I was in corporate. But now that I'm in business, I don't do that anymore either. But when I was actually inside my business, I could actually talk to the people that were going to use the software, but also talk to the people that was writing the software. And I could make that bridge where the technical people will explain to me in technical terms, and I could translate to business terms, and vice versa, and get them to be empathetic with each other so that they knew that they were working for the same goal. That's what propelled me to top levels in technology, in leadership. Isn't it? When you have empathy also for your coders, for your systems engineers, but also they have to understand that what they're doing matters to their clients.
Definitely. Yeah. And the most important lesson I learned was importance of empathy and understanding the need of your clients and end users. It was challenging. I'm not saying the one of the biggest challenge for me was shifting my own mindset from being an individual contributor to a team player. Right? as a coder, you always think about individual thing and, oh, I tested it, it's working. I used to focus on my own task before and responsibility, but with that project as a leader, I had to learn to delegate. That was a big thing. You have to delegate the task, empower your team members, and trust them to deliver the results. It was definitely a learning curve for me, but with the time and patience, I was able to adopt that. I learned how to do that. I learned how to work as a team player. I learned how to get the work out of others as a team versus just doing what is you're focused on. So it was a different mindset from a coder to the leader.
Now, there is one thing is to being a leader of other coders, other technical people, but being a leader of leaders is a completely different ballgame. How do you achieve that, and how do you learn to create leaders yourself?
So, couple of things. First you have to realize who you are. Self growth. That takes time. Means, of course, you need opportunity to prove that or work. Like I got an opportunity to become like a small leader for that project, which taught me with the real time scenarios how we can make that difference. But also definitely these courses, the leadership courses which you learn from, and mentorship is a key. You watch other leaders how they do. I had an opportunity to work with various leaders in my life, and I learned from them. You watch them. It's like lead by example kind of a thing, which they taught me how to delegate the work, how to have your listening skills developed. That was a major thing for me to develop my listening skills, and how to have people give you solution versus you tell them what to do. That never works. Have a collective talents and expertise in your team and have them define a solution versus you telling them what to do. That's not a leader. So that is all the things which you all have in you, but how to utilize that. So I learned that with the time. It doesn't come in a day, but with a lot of courses as well, mentors, and some examples, you had to develop those skills, which I was able to do. It was challenging, as I said. It was not easy for me initially, that from singly focused person to become a team player, but it was not impossible. I learned how to listen. I learned how to work with the team. I learned how to inspire others. Ask questions. Don't give the solution. Ask the question in a way that you put a ladder for them. You don't give them like, okay, now you step 1, 2, 3. You give them a ladder and let them lead. You have to encourage that. So that is what I did. That's how I did. And it's continuous learning and self-improvement.
That was the hardest thing for me to learn, and it almost cost me my business because I thought I was a leader, but I wasn't. I was a manager. I was a sergeant, or I was a general in an army, and thou shalt do what I say or else. And it was in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
I had a collapse. I realized that no matter how I tried, I couldn't grow leaders inside the business. No matter how I tried, I couldn't sustain and have people stay in the company. So you know what I did? I Googled leadership course for technology people, because I was a business owner, but I was really a glorified developer, a glorified architect playing business. And so that I found this place called Society for Information Management out of the USA and Canada, and they have this course called the Regional Leadership Forum. It was a leadership course for technology people that wanted to become C-suites, like CIO, CXO. And I took it. It was like a year course. And after reading 32 books, it finally clicked. Oh, I know what a leader is.
Yeah, manager and leaders are two different things. Manager manages things, you manage resources, manages tasks, that's not leadership. It is a start of managing thing. You need that in you as a leader, but leadership is totally different. It's a continuous learning and self-improvement. Emotional intelligence is key here. You know, I always say leadership is a journey. It's
Yeah.
not a destination. If you will ask me, am I a perfect leader? No, not yet. There's
Mhm.
always a room to grow
Yeah.
and evolve. There's always new learning as you go. And there are different you make people as your mentors or gurus, and you become mentors. You also learn a lot from your mentees too. So seek feedback from your peers and mentors. Always be open to take it. Always be open to new experience and never stop challenging yourself. If you don't challenge or you sit in your comfort zone, you never can become a leader. So always be open to take challenges. That's one thing. Like you said, you were ready to collapse, and you cost your business there, but you took that challenge. You were not afraid of losing something. You were ready to take challenge, and that's the key for a leadership. Challenge yourself, be ready for new challenges, evolve yourself, and most importantly, remember that leadership is not about having all the answers yourself. It's about empowering others to find a solution together. You will not have everything, all solutions yourself, but you are empowering others. You are taking the people's brain and things to develop solutions with you. That's called leadership. It's not about telling people, okay, do this what I said. That never works.
Yeah, and it's just like we were talking when before we started the podcast, right? Like my mentor used to say, if you don't have any challenges right now, it's because you're not pushing yourself enough to the next level, right?
Definitely. I always say, then we always have a fear. We get into a comfort zone in our life. Things are working. I'm fine. I have a nice job. I'm doing this. World is not growing because of those people who are in comfort zone. World is growing because people are thinking more. Think where we are now. This new technologies such as AI and Chat GPT, Open AI took the world in a different directions. I am not saying technology is the only solution, but it helps. There are pros and cons. People are using technology in a different bad way, but there are a lot of good pieces of it. So always take challenges. Always think to see what you can do until you can, and that's what a passion people have. A lot of leaders, they're not born as leaders, but they had something in them which made them a good leader today. And
So,
that's what I encourage people to find that something. Find that something in you, evolve yourself, learn every day, and see what you can make, which will impact people's life in some way.
and the people that listen to the podcast is either other CIOs or other top leaders that want to have a different perspective in the leadership skills, because like you said, you never stop learning. But also I have younger people that want to become really good leaders and they don't know how to. And it's so beautiful to have experienced people like you that are willing to open your heart and teach people. Like in my case, I had nothing. I had to go find a course. Now people can sit down and just listen to this, and we have over 100 episodes. And so you have a university here if you want to become a leader with multiple perspectives, and all of them work together for creating something amazing, right?
Yeah, definitely. You can learn from courses, but that's not the only thing. You have to put yourself in real time scenarios. Learn, watch the leaders who you are fascinated with. I will tell my previous CIO and my current CIO is my boss. I learn every day from them something new. The way they work. So I will encourage people who wants to really become to find mentors or find some role models and learn every day from them. There is something in them which made them up to here. Learn what is that difference. And they were so good to me and they taught me, and listen, get the feedback. Don't just stop. Oh, you are all perfect. If you have that mentality that you don't want to listen, you cannot become a leader. I'm still learning. I'm still every day something new, and I take feedback. Okay, what did I wrong today? At the night when I go to bed, I always think myself like, okay, what was good today and what was wrong? How could have I done that differently? That's what makes you different. And I will encourage people to think and self-evolve, every day. That's what the key. And then the courses and everything will help you automatically.
Thank you so much, Garima. It's been a while now, and I do want to respect your time. I know you're super busy. I'll ask you one last question before we finish the podcast. If you had access to a billboard in front of the busiest highway on earth, what would you write in it?
Very good question you asked me. What will be my writing? I will say, be yourself.
Be yourself. Identity is one of the biggest problems that we face, and it's what blocks our career path, right? Because you don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Once you figure out who you are and the potential that is in you, it's really how much risk you want to take and how much you're willing to put the effort on.
Yeah.
Right?
You have to be yourself. You need to know you first before you do anything. And if you don't do that, you cannot be anything.
Mm-hmm. I spent a lot of my career trying to pretend to be somebody else, including my mentors. And that left me an empty heart and a broken path in front of me, until I finally really started embracing, okay, I'm an individual, I have my own skills, and I can do things a little bit different.
No, be yourself is the key, which is what I felt and I used as myself. I went through up and downs in your career path. Every time when I had a down moment, I started hearing who I am, what I want to do, what my skills are, why I am so down. And that's what made me up again. So be yourself is the key for becoming any leaders or becoming what you want to do. That will help you. Confidence in yourself first.
Fantastic. Garima, thank you so much for your time. If people would like to follow you or ask you more questions, are you on LinkedIn?
Definitely. I'm always open. It's my pleasure, David. And I hope I inspired some other leaders who are young and they want to become really good leaders. And I want to see them and will be always helpful. I'll learn from them.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Garima. Have a blessed rest of the week. Cheers.
Thank you, David. Nice meeting with you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Leaders in Tech podcast. Check in next week to keep learning how to use technology and leadership to change the game. See you next time.